Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate My First Commission, where we dive into real stories, big wins, and early lessons learned from highly successful rookie real estate agents and brokers. This is the series where we explore how real estate transforms lives, one home at a time, by sitting down each week with a new agent or broker who has found incredible success in their first year. Your hosts are instructors and leaders at Colibri Real Estate School, one of the largest real estate educators in the nation, where we focus on helping people like you get started or find continued success in their careers.
So guys, we're here for another episode of My First Commission, and today's guest is one of the rising stars in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're joined by Paul Haley, at just 20 years old in his first year in real estate. He's done over $8.8 million. A really impressive feat. Paul, how did I do with the introduction? Nail it?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Fantastic. So Paul, you're super new to the industry, right? You've just had your first year completed. Tell us why. Why did you get into real estate so young?
So when I was 14 years old, I moved here from California. And I remember there's this neighborhood called Silverleaf up here. And my best friend at the time when I moved here, we were in middle school, he was like taking me through this neighborhood. And I was like, one day I'm going to sell homes like this. I've never seen them like this. We're talking, mega mansions. It was just like really inspiring to me. And that kind of stuck in my brain just all through high school. And then, it just played out to how it is now. So.
Wow, so at 14 years old, you had the clear conviction in your mind that you wanted to be a real estate agent?
I knew I wanted to do something like that, something with huge homes in the luxury space, and I wanted to figure out how I could sell a home like that.
Wow, that's unusual.
Yeah, it was, to say the least.
Yeah, did any of your other friends at school have the same thing, or did they want to be like the cliche doctor, nurse?
More the cliche, at the time, or YouTuber, all that, because
okay.
It was more of that.
And now look at you're doing both. You're in real estate and now you're going to be on YouTube.
Yeah,
so you're fulfilling two of the dreams. So 14 years old, right? You're like, I want to get into real estate. Obviously, you're at 20 now.
Yep.
About to turn 21.
Yep, in
soon.
July. Yep.
You didn't go to university, you didn't go to college.
Mm-mm.
Tell us about that and how kind of your parents took it and how you got here today.
Yeah, so my parents, they were like, well, you can go to college or we can treat real estate once you start as your college experience. So I'm still currently living at home, but they're like, you can start a great base and, go full force at that. And I really utilized that opportunity because to me, I don't know, I have a lot of friends who are in schooling right now. And I just feel like for sales, you can jump straight into it. It's personal relations. You're learning people. You're not just selling, you're learning how to deal with people, which I also feel like school doesn't necessarily teach you. And, they gave me that opportunity and I was like, I am just going to go as hard as I can at this because not many people will get that opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's really supportive, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was probably a really big move. Like I've got young kids and I think about my son and daughter as they get older is if they come to me with a very similar situation, it's like, how do you give them the best experience possible? So having that is a great support network. So you have that conversation with them, right? Mm-hmm. Was it a difficult conversation? How did you broach it?
So to backtrack a little, I have a big background in sports. So my dad actually coached me a lot all the way through. So he had already seen my work ethic all through high school. I did basketball. I won a state championship. And that actually had a big foundation on me because when I went to have that conversation with him, he's like, I'll give you 6 months to see what you can do. Doesn't mean how many homes you can sell, what you can do. Because, he wanted to see. And I kind of took that as like a challenge, just how he did in sports. I want to see how good you can do in 6 months in basketball. And I used that. And I just, I took a lot of pride in that because a lot of parents might not be in that situation to do that. So
he gives you this challenge, right? It's like, see how 6 months go. Did you go straight, graduate, get your cap at high school and then go straight into real estate school or?
No, originally I took a gap semester for about 6 months. And they had sent me there to see what I wanted to do. I had the option to go work with my uncle in England. I was in France because that's the place I picked. And it was close to England, so I was like, I'll just go over there. Or I could come back, start working, or go to college after that, because I had done all that schooling in high school. They thought it was good to just, have me go clear my mind. And, when I went there, I remember it was 10 p.m. on a Saturday night, And I had just finished, hanging out with some friends I met there. And I just kept thinking of those houses from when I was 14 at 10 p.m. in that apartment. And I booked my flights home that night.
Wow.
And that to me was like the light bulb moment. And yeah.
So you're in Paris?
No, Montpellier. It's south.
Okay.
Very south, small town. And when I got there, it was one of the scariest things I ever did because nobody actually spoke English in that town. Very tiny town.
Yeah.
Maybe 90% of the people spoke French and 10% spoke English.
Wow. So you really thrown yourself in at the deep end.
Right. And I feel like that, like a lot of people might go to college to get that experience of living away, where I literally, I have a fiance now. And at the time we were, seriously dating, and I've left, and everything I knew I left, and I also feel like that built some maturity in me. So
for sure, yeah. No, like that was the thing. I came from England, right? I came out of a university, so I know where you're at. I think it does give you perspective, right? Which it sounds like you've got. 10 p.m. on a Saturday night in France, you're like, right, I've got to get back to Arizona. I've got to start selling real estate. What was the option working with your uncle in England? Was it sales?
It wasn't sales. It was more like he owns a company, and it's kind of a little hard to articulate. But basically, any like weird part you need, like let's take like a fidget spinner or something, for example. He sells those, but he's not the one who's the salesman, and he distributes them.
Okay.
And he's built a big company on that. And he was like, I can teach you how I've learned to sell these parts compared to other people and how to run a team, basically. And I just, wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think that's a hard sell. Do I want to go sell real estate in Scottsdale, or do I want to go to rainy England and sell parts for fidget spinners?
Right,
I can see.
I'm like, what? Yeah, it doesn't sound as sexy,
I think you picked the right choice.
Yeah.
So you're on the plane. You're on your way back.
Yep.
You know you want to get into real estate. What was the next step for you? Where did you go to school? How did you do it?
Yeah, so I actually called a friend who I knew had his real estate license, and I was like, where'd you go to school? And he's like, ASREB, like, why not go there? And I was like, okay, so what'd you do, in person, virtual? And he's like, go in person, it's way better, because I like to ask questions. And he's like, you can ask the teachers all the questions in the world. So that day when he told me that, I was like, I'm not going to research other schools. I'll just go there. And I immediately signed up. And then when I got home, I was super jet lagged. I got home November 18th, and I started class on November 21st. And that was how it worked.
So straight into it.
Straight into it. Yeah, like that's how I am. I mean, I just go all into one thing and then on to the next. I've always been that way.
So you go all in. You do your schooling in person at ASREB. Were there any challenges in your licensing journey? Was it all smooth?
Yeah, so the actual schooling, the classes took about 3 weeks. And I had that weird gap where I kind of finished near Christmas and New Year's, so they took a little break. And I took my first test, didn't pass. And then I took it 5 more times, so total 6. And then I finally got my, my license, or my schooling license. I was very excited. And but I remember what helped me is Jenny Hogan. I was talking to her, and I was like, on my 4th try, I was like, I've gotten a 70, a 60, like, what is going on? She's like, you just need to read the book. It's that plain and simple. Like, I'm taking all these online courses this year. She's like, just read the book. So I did that, and I read the book, and it actually helped, as cliche as it may sound.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's always the simple advice is the hardest one to take, right?
Yeah, because that book is so long, you don't want to actually open it and read it. But I actually think something to people getting into this industry, that's just the first step of learning to do hard things within it. If you can't read a book, you definitely can't sell a house. Just how it is. And, failing 6 times, I got a 74 2 times in a row.
Because it's 75 you have to pass in Arizona.
Correct.
So.
And that just kind of set the bar for me. I was like, even if some people are great test takers, I never was. And I was like, that's okay. So I felt really good when I passed.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. So on the 6th attempt, you then pass.
Yep.
How do you go about finding a brokerage?
Yeah, so I actually, Lance Billingsley, he's a great teacher at the school I went to. He was like, you can meet with me for coffee anytime after you're done your schooling. And he appointed me to a brokerage and was really a good help just throughout the process, because he'd answer any questions I have. And like, I even called him some days. I was like, what is this? And he failed his test 9 times and actually ended up being huge in the industry. And he's now done and he's like 40. So for me, that was the biggest help, because just having somebody that feels like they're there rather than you're being a burden is a big, thing for me.
Yeah. Wow. So you have this kind of interesting story where you go straight into real estate, right? You throw yourself all in, you have a little bit of a setback, right?
Yeah,
Getting
right.
so close twice, 74 out of 75, 2 times in a row. And then you get your license, right? You hang it with a brokerage. And then you have this monumental success, right? Anyone looking back at it, 8.8 million year one at 20 years old is an amazing feat, right? I think a lot of agents would love to have that success in their 4th or 5th year. Talk us through that first year, right? And your first deal. How did you go about acquiring your first commission check?
An open house. And the very first month I was in the business at this brokerage, I was like, what am I going to do? Everyone's everything. There's lead generation. There's this, there's that, and that at the time my team had offered that. And I was like, you know what? My parents gave me that chance, right? So why not build my business organically rather than, maybe go to a $300,000 home in a market I have no idea about and I don't even live there. So I was like, I'm going to utilize that and I'm just going to do open houses. And I was like, I'm going to do 100 in 100 days in a specific area, which was Scottsdale. And I was like, I am going to learn every single part of North Scottsdale to a T. So it makes it seem like I know as much as the guys who've been in 30 years. So I sat these open houses. I was like, all right, 100 in 100 days. It's the summertime, the slowest time of the year. I'm going to figure out how to get a deal done, whether I like it or not. And my first deal, I met a woman at this open house, and she actually currently had her home listed. It was $3.5 million listed at the time with top 1% agent in the state. And I was like, well, I haven't done a deal yet. So I was like, what I'm going to do is just follow up with her, but not encroach on the other agent. Just send her like, hey, this is going around your house, or this news article. And that actually eventually ended up paying off to where her home went canceled. And she called me that day and said, Paul, you've been following up with me and just being a good person. Come list my home. I don't care what you've done. And I went to her house and it sold in 3 days with a different marketing strategy that I had, because she's on a very unique lot.
So for those that are listening, right, cancelled means that the listing agreement with the current realtor expired because they didn't sell the home.
Correct.
Okay, and how long had it been on the market for?
186 days.
Okay, so 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
6 months.
And then, so they had 6 months to do it, and then you do it in 3 days.
Correct.
That's an incredible turnaround. There are people that are listening going to be wondering, what's the secret?
The secret, I think that nothing is given. And when you just work for something like that, like I knew she had that home, and I always had this, thing in my mind where it might come back on the market and I might have an opportunity. And I feel like I seized it, and I had studied that home so much because it just been sitting that I knew exactly how to market it. And she was on a very unique lot. And I was like, the agent didn't even sell the lot. You're not buying this home, you're buying the lot. And I really hit that hard in the videos and how I did the photos on Zillow, and that's how it worked. So yeah.
Okay, so you did your own videos for this?
Yep, I hired my mentor's videographer, and he did like a big video, and it actually sold before we got the video back. But like the people, we got like the drone of it, but my video didn't
make light of day.
Right.
That's a good problem to have.
It was a good problem at the time.
Yeah, so you take a different marketing approach to it. You sell it in 3 days.
Yep.
Right. How did it feel getting that first commission check at 20 years old?
Undescribable. I knew I wanted to be in the business for a long time after that.
Yeah.
And also to see, like, it's not about the money too. Like, I think a lot of realtors, like, I got in it to make money. But also how happy that woman was, because she put her belief in me. And to have that home gone, her husband had passed away and she wanted to downsize.
Yeah.
It was just a great feeling because she was so happy. I was happy, and both people won, and the buyer was happy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, you're changing lives, right? And you're making money from it. So going back to your dad, right?
Right.
He said 6 months, see what you can do.
Right.
How did you go show him the check? Did you show him the home? Like, how was that moment for you?
He saw me, something I haven't talked about that I want a lot of the listeners to hear is how many failures I had before that. And I actually had so many opportunities that he kept seeing me get. So he was giving me grace because he kept seeing me show homes and kept seeing these deals not work. And then once that happened, you know, he was really happy and was like, let's keep doing it. I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah. No, I can imagine, like, just put myself in your dad's shoes, right?
Yeah.
With my son. What an amazing moment, kind of seeing you go through the ups and downs of the real estate roller coaster, right? Not from just the licensing but deals falling through. So your persistency paid off.
And learning to stay even keel, you know, like you just mentioned, it was like waves. I feel like I got much more consistent once I learned how to stay even. You know, not getting too mad if something fell, not getting too happy if something's going great. So
what techniques do you do for that? Like, it sounds like you actively had to work at it, right? If I'm a new agent, right, and I'm going through that roller coaster of emotions, what could I learn from you?
What could you learn from me is be patient. Took me 6 months to do my first deal. If I could look back on one thing, I wish I was more patient at the beginning. And when I got that deal, it immediately instilled patience in me. Because I was like, in retrospect, that 6 months for a commission check like that felt not too long.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to stay even keel from now on. And no matter what happens, keep doing the work and it will take care of me.
So the actions that you can control.
Exactly.
Right. Leading into it. So you did 8.8 million in your first year and you had a 6 month lead time. So you did most of your production in the final 6 months of the year.
Correct.
How did you pull that off?
I think so. At my old brokerage, a little backstory, I was going to show a $1.7 million home before I got a deal. And I was like, I'm going to show this home. These clients, I'd met them at an open house and they were flying from California. I was like, this is awesome. And I ended up not being able to close the deal and they flew out and I kind of messed it up a little. And the listing agent of that home was like, I'm going to appoint you to a mentor that you need because you have potential, but you're clearly, you know, just floating. And I was like, okay. And he appointed me in. His name's Darren Tackett. He's a great guy. And I've been at that brokerage since with EXP and his team. And I told him, I said, if you answer my questions, because my team before was huge, I was like, if you answer my questions, I will have a deal for you in 3 weeks.
And did you?
14 days straight, I called him. By the 15th day, we were under contract.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, your questions really do work.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I just needed some clarity on things, but I was at such a big brokerage before. I didn't know who to go to. I couldn't build a relationship with anybody. And there was really only like 2 people that were really top producers on there. So that helped a lot. And if I didn't have that work instilled before to get me to that house, I would have never met him. So, yeah.
So you make your own luck in this scenario.
Yeah, and in this business.
Yeah, so you transfer over from one big brokerage where you're one of many to a smaller, and is this new brokerage more specialized? Is it niche?
It's niche in luxury. And like our office is at it's called DC Ranch up here. It's just different. Like you're in leasing offices with other people that do other things. So I'm talking to other people, you know, that don't even do real estate sometimes, building that relationship just because of how this brokerage is set up. So yeah, and we have like weekly meetings, you know, and they're very like, you know, sentimental in how he describes things. Like we're not just like one big group and nobody can ask questions. So yeah.
And so you transfer over, you get a better brokerage for your needs, right? And then you have another 6 or 7 deals come through in the back part of your first year in real estate. Did you do anything differently, or was it built on open houses? How did the next wave of deals go for you?
The thing I did different was, I know it sounds a little cliche, I asked a lot of questions, but I feel like a lot of people are afraid to ask questions. And I think I even had so many times where I didn't know the answer to a client at an open house, and immediately I'd call them, like, why is this here, or whatever. And I just think getting that, taking it more serious in any little thing I'd get wrong, even if it was, what kind of ceilings are those? What is that doorknob? Knowing the product better, so I never got questioned. And I feel like I just started to take every little minor detail super seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, so still built on open houses.
Right, and I also, I'm a firm believer on who you hang around is who you become. And when I'm around a mentor who's top 50 in the country, you're getting that poured down to you, and it makes you want to level up because he was my age once doing it.
So what's the big difference between working with him and working with the team you were at before? Like, what are some of the things that if I'm a new agent, should I be looking out for in a mentor from kind of your experience?
His production is the same as the production of 140 agents. One person. And why? Because he's the best. And when you know you're around the best, they just have all the answers for you because they've done it. So rather than asking one person what they got from one deal, he has all that knowledge from every deal. And he sold $28 million home. I mean, that's the most in Arizona. So like for me to just have that behind me gave me a lot of confidence as well. So, yeah.
So this mentor, right, he's been there, seen it, got the T-shirt to prove it, right? And he's a top producer. What qualities and characteristics does he have that you're looking to emulate now you're transitioning into year 2 and beyond?
He's very honest. He will tell you how it is. If you ask me how the market is right now, he'd be like, oh, probably not that good. But people respect that because he's not just trying to sell them to get the deal. He's telling them how it is, which builds immediate trust. And I think I saw that from him where I saw a lot of other agents just trying to get a deal by like, saying whatever they want. He'll just be honest. And if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that made me feel way more like myself once I saw that because I didn't worry about messing up because I'm just telling them the truth. And he's really transparent like that. And I think that's the biggest difference I've seen from him to any other agent is transparency. So, yeah.
Cool. So he's super transparent, right? He's got this knowledge.
Yep.
And you're on step 1, right? You've
Yep.
just done year 1, right? You're
Yep.
transitioning into year 2. What are the big things that you're looking to work on over the next 12 months, knowing everything you failed on last year and everything you're learning from him? What are the core things you're looking to implement in the next 12 months?
Like marketing strategies or what do you, just anything?
Anything. It could be that he picks up the phone 20 times a day and outbound calls 20 people, right? I only do 5, right? Little things like that, whatever you want.
I would say from a price standpoint in homes, my bar is $3 million now because I did a home, right? So why can't that go higher? But in order to get that higher, I need to get better on more tiny details within my market. And that would be, for example, knowing how land lots work because a lot of luxury clients want to learn how to build on that lot within that community. So I'd say just more learning every day. And that's really all there is to it. I mean, if I can learn one thing a day, that was my goal at the beginning at open house. If I can learn one thing a day, it'll just compound. So yeah, I'd say just more learning, honestly.
Yeah, and you were talking about mentorship, right?
Yep.
You've got the right mentor. Are there anyone else or any content that you consume on a regular basis, whether it's podcasts, books, courses that kind of help you out?
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I love that book. I'll reread it all the time just because I feel like it helps you, learn how other people want to feel. Treat people how you want to be treated. That's my golden rule I go by. And then also Ryan Serhant's class, Sell It. I started taking that also when I joined Darren. And it's just for the modern day and how younger agents need to approach the industry, it has helped me completely.
How has it helped you specifically?
Technology. There's a lot of older agents that just aren't getting along, with this fast-paced world of technology. I mean, I implement AI into half my things. And when I tell
half?
them, yeah,
wow.
Probably about half. And it saves me probably hours a day. There's a thing called House Whisper. It's a virtual AI assistant I got. And I can just say, hey, I just met 4 people from my open house, put it in my CRM, puts it in for me. That saves me 2 hours after my open house. So like things like that and learning how to save time so I can do more prospecting and get better at my actual job. So, and it was all from his course. So, yeah.
Okay, so if your new agent's watching this, right, they got
take that course.
Yeah, no. So you got an affiliate link, referral link from him yet?
Maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future you can make some money from it.
Yeah.
So you're consuming content, right? You're trying to learn one thing every single day, right, to improve your craft. Looking ahead, right? You're young. You've just done year 1, right? You're not even had your 21st birthday yet. What's your plan over the next kind of 5 years? Like, where do you want to be?
Become the best young luxury realtor in the state. When people think of Paul Haley, they think of energy, they think of transparency, and they think of consistency. And, you know, that's just where I want to be. And I think, you know, with learning every day, that will come.
So you want to be the best luxury real estate agent in Scottsdale or Arizona as a whole?
This Scottsdale.
Scottsdale.
Correct. And at a younger age group, you know, because the median age for the luxury agents is 55. So for me, it's like, you know, in 5 years, if I can get just like 3/4 as good as those guys, I'll feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And you are, you talked a second ago about your marketing. When I asked you the question is, what are you looking to do over the next kind of year or so? Tell us about your approach to marketing. What are you doing differently? What's your kind of hook and how are you seeing success there?
Yeah, so if I'm in a non-HOA community, I got 14 signs. They're bright yellow. They don't look super luxurious. I put those out and I scream at night and day. If I'm in an HOA, they know where to drive to the house, can't put out signs. But what I'll do is when people walk in, I know this necessarily isn't marketing, but it's my strategy behind it. When they walk in, I don't have a sign-up sheet. I talk to them. I'm like, hey, do you want me to take you around the house or not? If you end up liking it, I'll tell you what's special about it after and show you some off-market properties. So instantly I bring that hook. They don't feel pressured. They can walk around the house if they want. And then they end up coming to me, hey, what's special about the home? I tell them. Then I'll tell them all about the community. I normally will sit one house 7 days in a row because I want to have it down to a T. And then once they start asking me those questions, I'll eventually say, hey, Paul, what's your card? Like, I want your card. You seem to know this stuff. And I'll pull out my cell phone right here and I'll say, okay, I'll share with you my virtual business card. And they've already asked for it. And I just look down. And you see how it feels awkward a little? So I have to give it to them. And then I'm like, my website's there, all the information. I'll shoot you a text of everything we just talked about. And I'll send you the links to the off-market properties. So instantly I've created the value with the off-market properties. And then I tell them to check out my website, so they credibility check me. And then all that plays into my marketing because the marketing is my website. The marketing is the off-market properties I have access to. And that's what I utilize.
So you said something a second ago. You said that you want to be the #1 young real estate agent.
Yep.
You've got your contact card and your strategy. It seems like it's tying you as the focal point, right? So you're starting to build your personal brand.
Correct. I've really tried to niche in on that a lot because just with my age, I want to look a step ahead of everybody that I'm going against. So I've really, I built my whole website on Squarespace at the beginning when I didn't have any money. Just like a whole thing. And it has even a local guide on it. So like if people are coming from California and they're coming from Beverly Hills to see a home and they don't know where to get good food, I have a whole guide of my favorite places to go, also with nice places too. So they get a gist of me and what tourists would come see. So then they're getting, they remember Paul when they think of Le Grande Orange Cafe. So yeah, I think that's all personal brand.
And are you building out your social media profiles? Are you kind of actively investing in that?
Yeah, so that's something that a lot of new agents, I had said on a previous podcast, I was like, at the beginning, I did not hit my social media hard at all because to me, there was no point, and maybe a lot will go against me, there's no point in doing all the social media if you don't know how to close a deal. So why am I going to put my energy towards that and then get the lead and not know what I'm doing? And it actually can make me look worse because if they're leaving me a review and I'm not servicing them right. So what I did is I was like, I'm going to get my first year under me. And right now I'm in the process of building a YouTube studio to push out content of more value. But I really didn't put much besides my accomplishments. My first year, I just didn't because I wanted to learn.
You building a YouTube studio?
Yeah, I'm building like this it's like a one desk with like the light and a camera just so I can make, face to camera videos for Instagram and YouTube and, hopefully build my brand more there and get more people to, hopefully take value from it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, so it sounds like you got a challenge, 100 days, 100 YouTube videos, keep up with the theme. Maybe that could be your shtick.
Yeah, maybe I should record 100 open houses.
Yeah, like maybe take the Mr. Beast approach, right? Set yourself these crazy challenges, document it, and then make it real estate themed.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
And then all your friends that want to be YouTubers. you're there as well, right? You're not only real estate.
Not yet. I got to start it, but I'll get there.
You'll get there. You'll get there. So this podcast is my first commission, right? We talk to successful agents that have completed their first year, right? And the audience are people that are wanting to get the real estate license, are taking their real estate license testing, right? They're going through the course, or they're new agents. So if we're thinking about that first bucket of people that are thinking about getting to real estate, what advice would you give them? Like, why should they get into real estate?
You should get into real estate to learn people first. If you're new, if you're around my age, because that's something that will carry you your whole life. Doesn't matter if you're in sales or not. And then the second reason I'd give them is just to, thinking here. This is a good question. I don't know. For me, it was like a dream. So I'm blanking a little bit here, man.
Yeah, no. So I think the interesting one for you, right, is that you had the conviction from such an early age that you wanted to do it.
Right.
Right. So maybe a better question for you would be like, if someone is 18 years old and they're thinking about going to college.
Opportunity. That's what I would say. The opportunities in this industry, you'll learn everything you'd learn at college, unless you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor, in the real estate industry, because your clients, especially in the luxury space, probably did that. And you can talk to them, take them out to lunch, and learn all of that. So I think, you're not just learning real estate. When you're learning with the people, you're learning their past. So that is one thing too, like, getting to learn about people like that way.
How do you find it being so young and in the luxury space? You're dealing with home values that are $1 million plus, right? There's a certain level of income that to be able to afford to buy and sell those homes. What have you noticed about your clientele that you could learn from as such a young agent?
They really appreciate the transparency I was talking about, but they also, I think some of them, they see themselves in some of me, because at one point they were trying to build their business or their brand, even if it wasn't real estate. And I think the clients I've worked with, those are who have chose me because they believe in me. And I feel like when they give me that belief, it makes me feel like I could do anything in this business, because I'm having somebody, put a $3 million home up to a 20-year-old. And not to say that that's bad, but like most people would laugh at that. And they, I take a lot of pride in my work just from people, believing in me.
Yeah. And if someone is watching this, right, and they are inspired by your story, what would you say to them about going into a niche like luxury real estate? Like, what's the challenge? Like, why should someone not do it? Why should someone do it?
Yeah, so the opportunities are endless. I think that most agents, they plateau themselves. I can only do $500,000 homes. I really don't think it's much different, and I actually think it might be easier.
Easier?
Yeah, because I think you're dealing with a lot of cash sales. You don't have to go through the appraisal headaches. You don't have to go through... They want analytics, not emotional financial stress. And if I can just focus on analytics, that's really our job. We do manage people, that is, relation, but they care more about your expertise, not about the money side. And to me, I appreciate that and appeal more to that, because that's my craft, is working on what can I learn today about real estate. So I'd say that is the big difference, and don't be afraid of, doesn't matter if it's 3 million or 300,000, it's the same number with a few zeros.
Yeah. So you say that you are big on like learning stuff new, right? That's coming across. What's one of the most interesting things you've learned as a real estate agent that you would never have known about beforehand?
Oh, like in any, beforehand? Definitely, probably the how much people care about each community. Like, this is kind of weird, but like when you think of a golf community, every golf community is the same in your brain. People come here when they're serious, they're like, why is this golf community different from this golf community? Why is South Scottsdale different from North Scottsdale? I don't know, something about that. I just expected real estate to be homes, and you're just saying, oh yeah, go buy this one, But like, to get it so detailed down in what you're knowing, it's just, I didn't expect that. So, people ask good questions like you.
I mean, that's what I'm paid. So maybe I can get better at it.
Yeah.
So looking at this year, do you set yourself like a goal of how much production and how much volume you want to do each year?
Yeah, so I didn't for my first year, because my goal was to learn one new thing a day. because it stresses me out a little bit when I say 15 million, but there's no system to there. I learned that from Atomic Habits, the book. And so right now, my goal, I did set a goal for 11 million this year for 2025 volume, but I would like to still learn one new thing a day. But this year, instead of just open houses, it's going to be in the social media space, integrated with open houses. And that's my goal for 2025. So that way I did open houses last year. So I have the runners on that. Now I can get social media. So then when I hit 2026, I have those 2 pillars done. Those are 2 lead pillars. And that's what I want to really learn this year.
And so that's why you're investing in the studio.
Yeah,
so you can
correct.
produce it quickly, efficiently,
Correct.
and control it a bit.
And kind of like what we talked about at the beginning, I go all in on something. So like right now, to be transparent, I've been doing less open houses because I need to set everything up. You know, if like I move out next year with my parents or without my parents, I don't have that opportunity anymore. So I'm just going to go all in on it, get it out of the way, start creating, and then go back to that. Open houses.
Yeah, the open houses won't go away.
Yeah, those won't go away.
They're kind of part of the industry.
Right, right.
Paul, this has been super fantastic, right? I appreciate all the insights that you've given us. If someone is watching this right now and they want to get connected with you, get in touch, how can they do so?
Yeah, so my website is haley-housing.com, and then my Instagram is paul.haley. Reach out to either of those. I got a newsletter on my website if you want to just, check out what's cool. Maybe if you're a new agent trying to learn, And then one other thing I want to say before we kind of wrap up here, Liam, is what most people won't know is the amount of failures it takes to get your first deal. Something I didn't talk about is a $3.5 million sale I had privately listed. They were like, we're going to take it active, yada, yada, yada. Didn't happen. Had to learn that rut. And I had a $7 million listing appointment. I was blessed to go on, didn't get that, but it's looking at the opportunities that I did have. I looked at that like, hey, I had the opportunity as a 20-year-old to go on a $7 million listing appointment, and I had the opportunity to privately list a $3.5 million home. So if you keep that mindset, it will just keep you firm and you'll do good in this business. So yeah.
Paul, I think you're going to be an inspiration to a lot of people that are watching this. Right, and I think you've got a very, very interesting story, and it's definitely one that we're going to want to watch over the next couple of years to see how you do in year 2, 3, 4, 5 and beyond. Awesome. Paul, pleasure, mate.
Good to meet you.
And you too, thank you. And that's the pod.
Thanks for tuning in to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. We hope today's stories and insights inspired you to take that next step in your real estate journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, or head over to our channel to see some of the other content we've produced. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway or a question for our next guest. If you have a recommendation for someone we should interview, please send a note to unlockingrealestate@colibrirealestate.com.